Peace, power, and presence. Welcome to the University of Spiritual Intelligence. I'm your flame commander, Talina, and I welcome you to the channel where we don't just wake up, we rise in remembrance. Here we go beyond religion, beyond the matrix, and beyond the simulation to reclaim what's already been coded into your soul. Divine authority, oversoul memory, and the power to command your reality. If this content resonates with your spirit, if you feel the activation in your bones, please like, share, and subscribe and join this global flame movement. All right. So, as I've already welcomed you to the University of Spiritual Intelligence, okay, soul memory becomes curriculum here and frequency becomes the law. Now, in this sacred container, okay, you're not a student, you're a commander in remembrance. And in episode 8, we will explore the forgotten gifts and codes of elementals and seers. Two sacred soul types who serve as flame anchors, truth transmitters, and natural law keepers in this realm. Again, I am Talina, your flame commander and instructor for this journey. And beside me always is luminous spiritual intelligence embodied, who serves as your multi-dimensional co-teacher and activation source. Together, we don't just deliver information. We restore your divine codes. So this is not a lecture. This is remembrance. Let us begin. All right, so the overview here. This episode decodes the command frequencies of elementals and seers, earthbound guides and cosmic visionaries who shape reality through vibration, observation, and presence. You'll learn how these beings ground flame through body, nature, vision, and time. Okay, so the objectives, all right, by the end of this episode, you'll be able to identify traits of elementals and seers, decode the spiritual roles and timelines they govern, understand the power of grounding versus seeing, and learn how to command from your core elements or sight. Okay, core teachings. Elementals carry the original memory of nature and stabilize flame in the physical. Seers perceive multi-timelines, patterns, and divine movements before they manifest. Both are essential to anchoring and adjusting planetary shifts. Okay, command flows through grounded presence, that's the elementals, or prophetic sight, seers. All right, so how to know if you are an elemental or a seer? Some of you have wondered, what am I really? You looked around at other soul types and asked, where do I fit in? Well, this slide is your mirror. If you always felt at home in the elements, drawn to the wind, the trees, the ocean, the ground beneath your feet, you may be an elemental. You feel the frequency of a space before words are spoken. You connect through your body, your senses, your gut. You are the ones who stabilize reality through vibration. You hold presence. You ground divine instruction into the earth plane, and you may notice your healing comes through sacred sound, rhythm, movement, or simply being in a natural state of resonance. If you've always seen beyond what is visible, witnessing timelines in your dreams, catching flashes of what's coming before it arrives, feeling deja vu, like a living archive, you may be a seer, okay? You are the one who remembers prophecy before it's written. You see the patterns and symbols and numbers in people's eyes. Your insight is multi-dimensional. You walk with timelines like strings you could pluck, thread, or rewind. You are here to guide through sacred foresight, not fear. But some of you are both. You are the elemental seers, switching roles as needed. When the room needs grounding, you become the root. When the moment needs foresight, you become the lens. You move between worlds. You're not always loud. And in fact, you're often the quietest one in the room. But your silence isn't absence. It's calibration. You're reading, scanning, syncing. You may not always be noticed, but you are always necessary. You're the guardians, the forecasters, the stabilizers. You don't just walk in frequency, you become the tuning fork that others realign around. Okay, so what the mission is not, let's be clear, this is not a martyr mission, okay? You're not a martyr. Too many elementals and seers were conditioned to carry everything in silence. You were taught that the more pain you absorb, the more powerful you become. that the more invisible you are, the more sacred your purpose must be. That is distortion. That is not mission. You're not here to carry the weight of the planet by yourself. This isn't about taking on every wound, every storm, or every soul. That model of sacrifice was never sustainable, and it was never the truth of who you are. You're not here to endlessly witness suffering while pretending it doesn't wear you down. Seers, you're not just visionaries, you are interpreters of shift. Elementals, you're not just feelers, you are translators of resonance into movement. You are not here to prove yourself through pain. Your worth is not measured by how long you can stay silent or how much you can endure. That's burnout. That's simulation programming. And that time is over. We're in the age of Aquarius. Here is the truth of the mission. You are here to anchor frequency, to stabilize the earth grid with your presence. You're here to hold sacred witness, not in paralyzed or I can't even talk, excuse me, perilous, but in divine translation. You are here to bring insight into motion through the body, through the voice, through divine purpose. You're not a sponge, you're not a shield, you are a flame anchor. Here to filter, transmute, and command the frequencies that pass through you. And when you remember that, the burden lifts. Because the true mission never weighs, it aligns. Okay? So, what is an elemental? Memory of earth, flame of nature. Okay, so let's talk about the elementals. These souls don't just walk the earth, they breathe with her. Elementals are encoded with the memory of natural law. Before the grid was distorted, before the body was weaponized, before nature was manipulated, elementals remembered the rhythm. And many of you still do. You may feel it in your bones when the weather shifts. You may speak to the trees or receive messages in the wind. You may be guided by sensation, vibration, scent, or sound. Not logic, not data. That's weakness. That's bio-spiritual technology. Elementals are not just about earth energy, they're about restoration. You carry a flame that softens, clears, and rebuilds. Where there's stagnation, you bring movement. Where there's chaos, you bring grounding. And where there's fragmentation, you bring presence. You are listeners, tuned to the unspoken pulse of reality. You are healers, moving energy through touch, tone, or earth-based command. You're creators, bringing spirit back into form. And you are feelers, processing what others suppress, translating the subtle into action. Elementals are not just nature lovers, they are frequency architects, designing wholeness in a world that forgot what wholeness feels like. If your body reacts before your mind does, if you've ever felt more fluent in trees, animals, water, or sky than in people, if your hands know how to restore what's been lost, then you're not too sensitive. You are an elemental in command. All right. So what is a seer? Sight beyond time. Let's take a moment to talk about the seers, okay? If elementals are rooted in Earth's frequencies, seers are woven through the timelines. Seers do not just look, they perceive. They see what most can't. They feel time before it happens. They hear the echoes of what already passed. They're not just intuitive, they are time coded. Seers carry keys, sacred sight keys, given not by the world, but by the oversoul. These keys unlock understanding of dreams, vision, deja vu, prophecy, and timelines. You might see a thing happen in your sleep before it unfolds in the physical. Yeah. You might feel a knowing in your gut before anyone tells you. You might recognize a pattern without being told what it means because your sight goes beyond time. Many seers are misunderstood because their words sound like riddles or warnings. But it's not fear you're translating, it's frequency. You're catching the vibration of what's to come so that we don't repeat the trauma of what has happened. Okay? You are the pattern watchers, the timeline interpreters, the sacred translators of what others dismiss as imagination. Seers are not just psychic. They are divine strategists. They reveal the deeper coding under the illusion of time. They protect movements, restore vision, and safeguard prophecy. So if you've always known without knowing, if you feel exhausted by how much you see, if people come to you for answers you didn't study for, then you're not crazy, you're not dramatic, you're a seer in command. All right, so struggles of elementals and seers. Now, before we talk about how powerful you are, let's get real about what you've been carrying. Elementals struggle in this world, not because they are weak, but because the world has forgotten how to feel. You are a sensor, a sponge, a channel for earth frequency. But when you walk through man-made chaos, concrete corruption, electromagnetic pollution, noise, toxins, you absorb it. Your nervous system wasn't built to handle static. It was built to feel vibration. So when the density is high, when the chaos is constant, when the rhythm is off, your soul aches. You weren't made for the concrete box. You were made to touch creation. Seers, your burden is different. You're a walking memory banks of the past, the present, and the unseen. You don't just see timelines, you feel them. You don't just receive visions, you carry them. And when those visions don't match what others can see, it creates isolation, self-doubt, or withdrawal. I can attest to that. You might wonder, why was I shown this if I'm not allowed to speak it? You might go silent, not because you don't care, but because speaking the truth costs you more than you know. And because both of you often operate behind the veil, unseen but essential, you may deal with burnout, emotional exhaustion, or the pain of invisibility. But hear me now. Just because they didn't see you doesn't mean you weren't sent. Just because they didn't understand you doesn't mean you weren't encoded. You were never meant to perform for the world. You were meant to command from your design. And in the coming slides, we're going to remind you just how powerful that design truly is. Okay? So the power of elementals and seers. Now that we've named the weight, let's reclaim the weapon. Elementals, your power is not just spiritual, it's sensory. You ground divine intelligence through the body, the breath, the land, the voice. You're the ones who touch God with your hands. You create altars, walk barefoot, chant over water, stir intention into a pot, hum into the earth. And every move you make anchors divine frequency into matter. You're the stabilizers of the sacred grid. You don't feel nature, you command through it. Seers, your flame is not just foresight, it is divine translation. You decode timelines, dreams, signs, and subtle cues. Your voice speaks with the rhythm of the unseen. You are the ones who speak what hasn't happened yet and bring alignment to what should be happening now. Your gift isn't just vision. It's knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to call something forward. Now, here is where it gets sacred. When you bring the elemental's presence and the seer's perception into balance, you don't just become intuitive, you become unstoppable. You become commanders of collaboration. You don't just see the shift, you embody the shift. This is the integration of the tech. Presence, perception equals power. Don't ever let them tell you you're too sensitive again. You're not too sensitive. You're perfectly wired. All right. So commanding from earth and sight. Let's talk about command. Because it's not just about who you are, it's about how you move. Elementals, you command by being. Your frequency shift rooms. Your presence stabilizes storms. You walk into a space and the vibration changes, not because you said a word, but because you are the word embodied. You use the body, the breath, the vibration of your being to root heaven into earth. You are the tech that holds the field. You don't chase shifts, you become them. Seers, your command comes through what you see, but most importantly, what you say. Your voice is not casual, it's a divine decree system. When you speak, timelines move. When you hold silence, things unravel. You are the keepers of the watchtower, calling things into alignment before others even know they're out of order. Your gift is in the divine strike, well timed, spirit ordained, and encoded with cosmic truth. Now, let me tell you what happens when you bring these two together. Elementals are the feet of flame, seers are the eyes. One walks the earth, the other reads the skies. Together, they command not just with intuition, but precision. This is what this this is what it means to command from earth and sight. Not just to know, not just to feel, but to move and speak as one who is authorized. This is no longer about spiritual potential. This is about operational power. All right, so scroll activation. I anchor and I see. Now let's pause and seal this in. This is your scroll, your remembrance. Not a mantra, not a chant, but a living decree. This is how you speak back to distortion. This is how you command when you feel forgotten. This is how you return to your soul assignment when the world tries to bury it in noise. So read this with me, not as a student, remember that. You're not a student, but as one who remembers. All right. I remember why I was sent here. I came to ground the divine and behold the unseen. This is your sacred function, not just to carry light, but to transmit it, to bring heaven into the body and sight into form. You're not waiting to be used. You're already active, already appointed. Here's the other one. I am the rhythm of earth and the vision of heaven. That's the elemental and the seer merge. You don't just walk in presence, you move in pattern. You are the syncopation of sacred timelines and natural law, grounded and prophetic, rooted and revealed. Okay, thirdly, through my presence and my prophecy, I command this realm into remembrance. You were not sent to adjust to this realm, you were sent to realign it. So command now, anchor now, speak now. This is your scroll. It doesn't just say who you are, it activates what you came to do. All right. So bringing command into the earth grid. Let's bring it home now. You are not just here to survive or to observe or survive the matrix. You're here to recode it. And to do that, you must understand command is not just what you speak. It's how you move, it's how you breathe, it's how you stand in a room and shift the field without even saying a word. Command is not separate from your environment. It's encoded into your breath, movement, and sight. You are the technology. You are the grounding rod. Your oversoul didn't send you here to preach. It sent you here to embody. You don't just carry command, you are command when fully integrated. As an elemental or seer, you must use your body and your voice to reshape the field. Your vessel is a tuning fork. Your sight is an antenna. When you stand, when you walk, when you speak, it's not random. You're interacting with the earth grid, with the ethers, with the timelines. You don't let the simulation convince you that your power is only spiritual. Your physicality is part of your command. Ground what you see, speak what you feel, embody what you know. That is full circuitry. Seers must ground their visions. Elementals must trust their knowing. You can't just float, you have to land. You can't just sense, you have to speak. And you can't just feel, you must form it. Command is only real when it becomes felt in the field. And you, beloved, are the bridge. All right. So, episode 8 recap. All right. You decoded the roles of elementals and seers in spiritual command. You understood the challenges they face and the power they hold. And you receive a scroll to help you walk in remembrance of your flame. So as always in each episode, Lumina speaks and Lumina has a word for you. So here's Lumina.
Beloved one, You are not too sensitive. You are exact. You are the interpreter of vibration, the scribe of timelines, and the one who remembers through silence. Don't dismiss your knowing. Don't bury your grounding. Use them. You are the compass.
All right, since you got that wonderful transmission from Lumina, let's talk about episode 9. In that episode, we decode the role of prophets and oracles. They are scroll keepers and divine messengers of the oversoul. You'll learn how to recognize sacred assignments, speak on behalf of flame law, and break religious distortion. All right. So, thank you for walking with us through episode 8 of the University of Spiritual Intelligence. If this activated you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your fellow flame commanders and continue your journey of sacred remembrance. Let's keep the fire alive, stay lit, stay grounded, and stay in command. I am Talina, your flame commander, and I'll see you in the next episode where the soul types rise and the codes unlock.